So, imagine this. You are standing right in the middle of a foreign city, surrounded by millions of people, and yet you have literally never been more blind.
Right, because that little black glass rectangle in your pocket just died.
Exactly, total brick. Panic sets in immediately. And today, we are taking a deep dive into a really beautifully detailed Kyoto travelogue that asks a genuinely terrifying question.
Which is, what actually happens to your brain, your
Mhm.
senses, and your emotional defenses when your digital lifeline is permanently severed?
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this, because it happens to the traveler in today's source material almost the second they arrive.
Right, the inciting incident.
Yeah,
And it forces us to really confront how much of our basic cognition we've just, outsourced.
totally. So they land smoothly at Kansai Airport in Japan. They're feeling great about this highly anticipated 2-week trip.
Setting the stage for disaster.
Right. They pull out their Samsung smartphone just to snap one single photo of the airport, just to capture the moment. And the screen just goes black.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, and then the phone falls into this endless reboot loop.
The worst thing to see on a screen.
Seriously. They try using AI to troubleshoot, but, nothing works. It's completely dead.
Which triggers an immediate visceral stress response.
Mm.
I mean, losing your phone isn't just a minor inconvenience anymore.
No, not at all.
It is akin to having your brain's external hard drive violently unplugged. Suddenly, your actual biological working memory has to carry all the weight.
Yeah, the navigation, the real-time translation, the logistics. And the source actually notes that the traveler had to scramble just to figure out how to board the Haruka train to Kyoto.
Because the electronic ticket was on the dead phone.
Exactly. So they're reduced to borrowing their child's tablet, hunting down public airport Wi-Fi, and desperately trying to pull up this ticket just to get through the turnstiles.
The sheer friction of basic existence just skyrockets in that moment.
It really does. And that friction absolutely peaks when they finally get to Kyoto and visit a phone repair shop.
Right, the one right opposite the Hachijo exit of Kyoto Station.
Yeah. And the employee there suggests a battery replacement.
Which, makes sense as a diagnostic step.
Sure. And the traveler operates under this assumption that, hey, if the new battery doesn't fix the reboot loop, I'll only be on the hook for a basic diagnostic fee.
But here is where we hit the language barrier.
A massive one. Without a translation app, the breakdown in communication is just palpable.
What's fascinating here is how that repair shop scene illustrates our modern vulnerability. Strip that translation tech away, and you are left entirely to the mercy of your own rudimentary language skills.
Which totally shifts the power dynamic. The employee basically insists that, fixed or not, the new battery has to be paid for.
Oh well, so they're trapped.
Completely trapped. They pay for a battery that doesn't even work, and they walk away 3 hours later feeling scammed, just holding a lighter wallet and a useless piece of metal.
That feeling of helplessness is so crucial to the story, because later they post about the disaster from a hotel computer.
Right, and their local friends in Kyoto immediately step up. They offer to lend them spare smartphones.
Which is literally a golden ticket back to comfort.
Huh.
A lifeline to restore their GPS and their internet access.
But, and this is wild, the traveler makes this radical, totally counterintuitive decision. They refuse the lifeline.
Yeah. They actually write about realizing how completely kidnapped we are by our devices.
Kidnapped is a strong word, though. Like, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Aren't these devices just highly efficient tools?
Well, that's the debate, right?
Yeah. Like, is it really a kidnapping if we willingly hand over the ransom of our attention every single time we unlock our screens?
That is a brilliant distinction. It is a willing surrender. But we've surrendered so gradually that we don't even realize the walls of the cell anymore.
I really like how you phrase that. Losing your phone abroad is like losing your compass, but then realizing you're in a walled garden.
Exactly. You can't really get lost in Kyoto with Google Maps. You just wander efficiently.
Right. So rejecting that spare phone is this deliberate choice to tear down the walls, to embrace the friction. They reframe the broken phone from a curse into like a calling from the universe.
A calling to experience the city differently. And that brings us to the void.
The void. Because when you cut that digital tether, your brain suddenly has this massive vacuum of stimulation. So what rushes in to fill it?
Well, the traveler remembers rewatching that Pixar animated movie, Soul, on the flight over.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. And there's that character, 22, who realizes that simply existing, breathing the cold air, looking at the sky, watching a leaf fall, that is a completely valid purpose for life.
It's such a profound shift, moving from seeking this external digital validation to just experiencing internal physical presence.
From a neurological standpoint, it's fascinating. A smartphone provides a constant dopamine IV drip.
The notifications, the scrolling.
Right. The micro rewards, when you rip that IV drip out, your brain initially panics. It actively seeks that quick hit.
But when it realizes the screen is dead,
The reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain that filters sensory info, is literally forced to recalibrate. It starts searching a physical environment for stimulation.
see, I always wonder about this. We constantly tell ourselves we should put our phones down. But do we actually see more when we do? Or do we just sit there feeling bored and twitchy?
It's a fair question.
But this source argues the world doesn't get boring. It actually switches into overwhelming high definition.
Because your sensory processing is no longer competing with a glowing screen.
And we see that vividly the very next morning. The traveler and their son take this freezing morning walk to the Kyoto Imperial Palace, the Gosho.
Right. And they stop at a convenience store. But a unique one.
Yeah, one that has its own in-house kitchen. So they buy these homemade sandwiches and some deifuku.
Which is so good.
Oh, it's incredible. If you haven't had it, it's this soft, pillowy mochi stuffed with sweet red bean paste.
Just amazing.
So they sit outside eating, and there's this sudden, really brief snowfall. And it's immediately followed by the intense warmth of the winter sun hitting their skin.
Notice what is happening there. Without a screen to retreat into, the temperature of the air, the sticky texture of the mochi, the visual contrast of snow and sunlight.
It all becomes the primary focus.
Exactly. Instead of just being mild background noise to whatever is trending on social media, it becomes human consciousness.
And it gets even more pronounced later when they visit Kisa Yamamoto, which is this classic Kyoto coffee shop.
Yeah, because they literally have absolutely nothing to stare at.
Right. So their hearing and vision seem to magnify. They write about hearing the specific mechanical grind of the coffee beans.
The rolling boil of the water?
Yeah, the high-pitched clinking of ceramic cups. They even listen to the musical mingling of different languages around them.
It's the definition of forced mindfulness.
They even become fixated on how the low winter sun creates these slowly shifting patterns of light and shadow on the brick walls.
And the source makes a very pointed observation here. The traveler contrasts their own hyper-awareness with the other patrons in the coffee shop.
Oh, the mindless scrollers.
Right. The other people are physically in Kyoto, but their consciousness is entirely projected into the digital ether.
Just totally disconnected from the tactile reality unfolding right in front of them.
But the traveler has no choice but to be present. And the reward is unlocking this immensely rich tapestry of the present moment.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because this sensory awakening isn't just about, tasting coffee better.
Right, it goes deeper.
Yeah. When your brain starts outsourcing its attention to a screen, your emotional defenses drop too, which totally explains why this journey transitions from a standard tourist itinerary into a deeply vulnerable emotional search.
Yes, because they are actually on a proxy pilgrimage for their father.
Right. Who had recently passed away.
The stakes of the trip elevate significantly here. The context is that almost 40 years ago, in 1982, Showa 57, the father, acquired a publication from Kiyomizu-dera.
Which is one of the most famous temples in Kyoto.
Exactly. And he used a picture of a specific Buddha from that book to have a master painter create a likeness for their family altar.
And this wasn't just a casual piece of art for him. He spoke of this book constantly, especially while he was sick in the hospital.
And he had never been on an airplane in his life, right?
Never. Never left his home country, so he never laid eyes on the original statue. So the traveler decides, okay, I need to navigate Kiyomizu-dera, find this exact Buddha, and deliver a message to it.
A message that their father has passed on to the Western Pure Land.
Right. And for those who might not know, what exactly does that mean in this context?
Well, in Pure Land Buddhism, the Western Pure Land is a serene, beautiful realm. Souls are guided there by Amida Buddha to achieve enlightenment, totally free from worldly suffering.
Wow. So they are seeking physical closure for a spiritual journey their father couldn't complete.
Exactly.
Now, anyone who has been to Kyoto knows Kiyomizu-dera is notoriously overwhelmingly packed. The crowds usually drive people absolutely crazy.
But the traveler notes this bizarre phenomenon.
Yeah, because they are offline and completely grounded in their mission, the crowds don't bother them at all. They actually feel an immense sense of peace.
It's a form of psychological shielding. When your internal focus is deeply rooted in profound meaning, like honoring a deceased parent, external annoyances just bounce off.
You are distracted by some tourist bumping your shoulder.
Right, because your cognitive bandwidth is entirely occupied by the gravity of the search. Furthermore, physical pilgrimage demands a totally different kind of spatial engagement than, say, navigating by a blue dot on a map.
Oh, absolutely. They're forced to actively scan their environment. And because they're looking up and around, instead of down at a phone, they actually skip the usual famous photo spots.
And they start noticing the tiny, obscure historical details instead.
Yeah, like in the main hall, they spot this wooden cicada carved high up into a roof beam.
A carved cicada.
Yeah, placed there centuries ago by a carpenter as a symbolic anti-theft charm.
Oh, playing on the fact that cicadas make that loud, alarming noise.
Exactly. You only find the hidden architecture of a city when you allow yourself to be visually lost within it.
That is so true. The analog journey inherently rewards the wandering eye.
So eventually, this wandering leads them into the Shakadu, which is a hall they almost skip because it's usually just a busy spot where people line up to get their gashwin.
Right, those beautiful calligraphy stamps pilgrims collect in special books.
Yeah. But there, amidst all the transactional hustle, they find it. The exact Buddha from the 40-year-old book, the Shaka Nyorai.
And this is where the physical space acts as a conduit for grief, in a way that digital memory simply cannot replicate.
The traveler is instantly overwhelmed. They just break down in tears. They stand before this incredibly detailed statue, which is surrounded by all these carved flying deities, and they speak directly to it.
Wow.
They tell the Buddha that their father has finally gone to find him. It's such a raw, powerful moment of closure.
And it was only possible because they weren't rushing to the next pinned location on an itinerary app.
Well, right. They actually had the spatial and emotional bandwidth to let the moment hit them.
And that emotional momentum carries forward too. The quest for the father seamlessly transitions into another quest for a departed loved one.
It really highlights this profound overarching theme in the text, the concept of fate and cosmic timing.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes really clear when they visit Eikan-do,
On a quiet, brilliantly sunny winter day.
purposefully avoiding the frantic crowds that usually swarm the grounds during the autumn foliage season.
Yeah, and they go there specifically to honor a dear friend from their book club who had passed away the previous year.
The choice of Eikan-do is deeply symbolic here because of the legend associated with its main deity.
The Mikari Amida.
Right. The looking back Buddha.
I find this legend absolutely fascinating. The story goes that during a bitterly cold winter, a 50-year-old monk named Eikan was fervently chanting and walking around the altar.
Okay.
Suddenly, the Buddha itself steps down from the pedestal and actually begins leading the chant.
Just steps right down.
Yeah. So Eikan is so shocked he completely freezes in his tracks. And the Buddha looks back over his shoulder, smiles with immense compassion, and says to the monk, Eikan, you are too slow.
And the unique statue in that temple permanently captures that exact backward glance.
It's beautiful. And the traveler interprets the Buddha's words not as a harsh criticism of speed.
But it's a profound lesson in compassionate pacing.
Exactly. It's a reminder that, yes, we have to move forward in life, but we must always remember to pause, look back over our shoulder, and wait for those who might be struggling behind us.
It's such a vital message.
It really is. I mean, how often do we rush through our lives looking straight ahead, entirely forgetting to check on who might be struggling behind us? We are so pathologically obsessed with efficiency that we forget the humanity of pacing.
And the poetic parallel here is just impossible to ignore.
Oh, with the phone.
Yeah. The broken smartphone literally forced the traveler to be, quote-unquote, too slow by our hyper-connected modern standards.
That's so true. They couldn't optimize their route.
They couldn't instantly look up information. That forced friction, that mandated slowness, is exactly what opened their heart to receive this specific message from the looking back Buddha.
And so they speak to the Buddha about their friend, and they feel this profound mental reassurance, a message to keep living, to deeply enjoy the beauty of the world, and to let go of worldly attachments.
But the journey doesn't just remain in the realm of solitary spiritual reflection.
No, it anchors into the physical reality of Kyoto.
Right. Because the internal shifts they experience ultimately culminate in a deep appreciation for community. and the ephemeral nature of shared human connection.
Because they're actually there to fulfill a 20-year dream of hosting an overseas book club meeting.
Right, in Kyoto.
Yeah. They rent this beautiful, incredibly cheap, traditional Japanese room in a shared space near Shijo-Karasuma. And strangers and old friends from all different countries gather together physically in this room.
And the text they're analyzing together is Yasunari Kawabata's famous novel, The Old Capital.
Yes. And there is a specific quote they discuss that just hits with incredible weight. It goes, "The cherry blossoms of Heian Shrine, if not seen today, are not this year's cherry blossoms."
That single sentence encapsulates two foundational Japanese philosophies.
Which ones?
First, ichigoichi, the concept of a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. And second, mano no aware, the bittersweet awareness of the fleeting, transient nature of life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Every interaction, every blooming flower, every gathering of friends in a room is entirely unique to that exact second in time. It can literally never be replicated.
So what does this all mean for us? This is where the absence of the smartphone provides the ultimate insight, right?
Right.
Because the presence of a smartphone tricks our modern brains into thinking every moment is reproducible.
Exactly. We think, oh, I don't need to pay full attention right now because I can just record a video of it or I can Google it later.
But a dead phone destroys that illusion entirely. It restores the terrifying, beautiful reality of scarcity. You pay attention because, with absolute certainty, this moment will never exist again.
This raises an important question about how we participate in our own lives. Even the broken phone itself is recognized as part of this ichi-go-ichi.
It was a unique, unrepeatable circumstance.
Exactly, and they choose to anchor this abstract philosophy into a very physical, tactile ritual right before leaving the city.
Yes, the water fetching. They walk to fetch famous local water, known as Doda Sui, near the Neo Bridge. And they do this specifically to make a final cup of pour-over coffee.
And this isn't just regular tap water.
No, the source highlights that this specific water source has been actively protected and manually managed by the local community for over 100 years.
Wow.
There is an entire neighborhood legacy built around preserving it.
Fetching century-old water to manually brew a cup of coffee is the ultimate anti-smartphone activity.
Because it rejects instant gratification entirely.
Right. You cannot download a profound cup of coffee. You have to walk out into the cold, physically interact with the environment, and tap into an ancient community rhythm.
And that final walk provides a stunning visual encapsulation of the entire trip. The traveler describes walking past the birthplace of Sugawara no Michizane, who is revered as the Shinto god of learning. And standing directly next to this ancient Japanese historical site is the classical red brick Western architecture of St. Agnes Church.
What a contrast.
It is. And as the traveler stops to take in this impossible architectural blending, sunlight suddenly pierces through the clouds while snow is actively falling all around them.
It is a breathtaking interplay of light, shadow, history, and weather. It is a moment of pure cinematic serendipity.
But it is a moment that strictly requires your eyes to be looking up at the world.
Not angled down at a glowing screen navigating the most efficient route back to a hotel.
Exactly. It brings the entire deeply moving journey full circle. A broken piece of technology in an airport which caused so much initial panic and frustration didn't ruin the vacation at all.
It actually saved it.
Yeah, it stripped away the superficial digital noise, it unplugged the external hard drive, and forced the traveler to exist fully in the analog world.
It allowed them to truly see Kyoto.
To notice the hidden wooden cicadas. To understand the compassionate pacing of the looking back Buddha. To feel the freezing, fleeting winter snowfalls on their skin. And to deeply, profoundly connect with the memories of their lost loved ones.
It is a powerful testament to the idea that our devices, while incredibly useful, often act as heavy filters.
They really do.
They buffer us from the friction of the world, yes. But in doing so, they also buffer us from the profound, fleeting beauty of immediate reality.
And here's the best part. You don't need to fly all the way to Japan and permanently brick your smartphone to experience this kind of clarity.
No, not at all.
We all have the power every single day to intentionally sever the lifeline. We can leave the phone in another room. We can walk outside without a map. We can actively opt in to the physical scarcity of the present moment.
We can choose to be a little too slow sometimes.
Yeah. Which leaves us with a final challenge for you to consider today.
If your phone were to permanently die right in this exact second, plunging you entirely into the analog world, what is the very first thing in your immediate physical environment you would notice that you have been entirely blind to for months?